We think that, you know, this is almost the amount of money that we might put in, or you might put it that way. In other words, because you weigh a lot of factors. You weigh who the people are, how the team fits together, what the concept is, how big the market is, what the competition is. There are lots of things that have to go on. So I don't know how much of that we'll get, but all of that comes into this factor, and then it comes down to 1, 2, or 4 or 5. Okay?
Yes. And if we're overwhelmed by something and we're really excited about it, but we're not happy about, but like we don't particularly like the traction they have or something, we can still give them a 25 out of 25, right? I mean, it doesn't have to add up.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. Just clarifying.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The first startup up is Tony from Korbit. Please welcome Tony.
Hello. All right, well, let me just say it's an honor to be the first human being to pitch in front of the 3 Drapers at once.
Do we get questions?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's 5 minutes of pitch and then 3 minutes of questions and comments.
Okay, I'm digging into his time right now, sorry.
All right. So, Bitcoin. It's been in the news recently. For those of you who are less familiar, Bitcoin is a collaborative payment network with its own currency. You can think of it as crowdsourcing and the sharing economy applied to money. It has so many benefits that it's been growing pretty fast. Every day, about $4 million are exchanged from ordinary money into Bitcoin and back. To put this into context, though, the foreign exchange market is $4 trillion every day. So Bitcoin still has some room to grow. And we're helping this happen. We operate a Bitcoin exchange, so users can come to our site, so buyers and sellers can trade with each other. We opened our first exchange in Korea in May of this year, and now we're going global. So our global approach is to take our existing exchange and open it up as a platform that we call Intercoin. So other companies can open a white label exchange on top of our software. So it's free to set up as long as the company has the necessary licenses in their country, and we operate on a revenue share basis. So a benefit is a user can sign up and undergo a single ID check and operate on all the exchanges in a seamless manner. So some people might be wondering, this looks a lot like centralization, and centralization is a dirty word in Bitcoin. People want a decentralized system. So one of the holy grails in Bitcoin is to have a decentralized exchange. And we actually looked at a lot of proposals. Some famous ones are called Ripple and Open Transactions. But we think they're all trying to go a little too far. They're trying too many innovations at once. So we wanted something that we can use right now. And so we made it ourselves. So we call this a distributed model. And to explain, in the centralized exchange, you have all of the money focused in one company. So it's a risk of a single point of failure. Whereas if you have a distributed exchange, the funds are dispersed across different locations and companies. So you have mitigated the risk. Now, another benefit is that the user can make cross-border transactions without even knowing Bitcoin, because our software takes care of the underlying transactions automatically. So for example, a user can input won in Korea and output euros in Germany. The World Bank estimates that for international remittance, people pay an average of 9%, and it takes 3 to 5 days for a transaction. Well, with Intercoin, we can drastically reduce the price and the time. And international remittance is a $500 billion market. So how are we doing so far? As I said, we started in Korea. Korea is tech-savvy population. They were pioneers in virtual economies. But in terms of Bitcoin, software downloads, it's been like 60th in the world. Well, we're starting to change that. So we launched in May, and Korea's been rising pretty fast through the ranks. And we're growing pretty fast as well. We're growing by about 60% every month. And Bitcoin businesses face a different set of risks from ordinary businesses. Historically, the main risks have been banking relationships and government regulation. So we decided to tackle these first. So we engaged Korea's banking alliance, and they decided to invest in Korbit and also incubate us. And we also showed our model to the government, and they're sponsoring us. And we rounded it out with corporate and venture capital investment as well. I think we are a great team for this. My background is an undergraduate degree in electrical engineering and a graduate degree in financial economics. And I also had a stint as a teaching fellow for security down the street at Singularity University. So to recap, Intercoin is a platform where companies can set up their own Bitcoin exchange as a white label service and connect to the other exchanges. Our first exchange in operation, called Korbit, is growing pretty fast, and it has broad-based support. Okay, thank you.
So how much has been exchanged so far?
So we're calibrating this, so about $10,000 worth, but we've been operating at a very high 8% commission per trade because we didn't want to have too much demand at first. We want to sort of allow the demand to grow gradually.
And why is it that you can go by distributing it and having it go from Korean money into Bitcoin and then back into US money? Why is that cheaper than just going from Korean to US?
Okay, so Bitcoin can cross borders pretty much for free and instantly. Whereas if you do normal banking transactions, you know, banks have to have the whole system in place. You have the whole security of moving money. So that's the main reason.
So I've seen basically every Bitcoin company, and I like almost everything about what you're doing because A, you have the banking relationship, which every single Bitcoin company is suffering from, which, so well done. That's awesome. And the government sponsorship, so like you're going to exist. That's great. Why decentralized?
Okay.
So I actually am against it. I think the winner in this space is going to be a centralized exchange. I just want to know why you think decentralized is the way to go.
Okay, so to explain, so there are centralized systems, and then, as you said, decentralized,
Yeah.
which I think is Ripple and open transactions.
Yeah.
But we're trying to strike a middle ground, which is distributed, we're calling it.
Yeah.
And
So my issue is a quality issue, quality
Okay.
control of the exchanges that are being
Right.
run internationally.
Mhm.
I think because there are a couple people who are trying to do the decentralized thing.
right, right.
And I thought that was going to be your reason, like getting around the banking and government thing so that you didn't have to touch it. But you're actually an exchange, which is cool. So how do you get around the quality control issue?
Yeah, so we do have to maintain, and I think we're going to have a contractual relationship with the exchanges. So it's more clear, because the problem with completely decentralized exchanges is sort of no one's in control. So the user has to make his own decision on, you know, the credit rating of each exchange. So we're trying to give a minimum sort of guarantee, and our profits will be used to sort of back that up, sort of like a FDIC does it.
Great.
How much are you looking for?
How much have you raised also?
Okay, about 130K as a seed. I guess the next extending that could be like 500K.
And so this is the Korean government, all these banks, and the venture capitalists have only come up with $130,000 for you?
We like efficiency.
You get in there cheap and then kind of work your way up.
And why is your name Korbit instead of the Intercoin?
So we started as just a Korean exchange, but then we saw that this can be replicated across Korea Bitcoin Exchange. Yeah.
Korean Bitcoin, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
If you want my personal feedback, get it to work in Korea before you do the other stuff.
So we want to hit critical mass in Korea first,
Completely.
definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Bill, you want to say? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Hey, talk to us. I'm interested.
Next up is Amy Kim from SEWORKS.
Okay. How is everyone doing here today? My name is Amy Kim. I'm the PR manager from SEWORKS. I'm honored to present to you and three Draper's family.
Sorry, there's more to there than that. Can we start from the beginning again? Robin, have you got that? Give me a hand signal.
Oh, wow.
Wait, this is still from Korbit.
Oh, this is Korbit's. Okay. Yeah.
Next presentation.
You might want to stop her clock.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, and reset the clock too, please.
Robin, could you swap over to KnowRe, please?
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Jurvetson, please. I guess I'm up next. Well, thank you everyone for giving us the opportunity to do this. My name is David Ju. I'm co-CEO of KnowRe, and we are an online adaptive learning product for mathematics to be used within schools. So KnowRe began in 2008 as an offline math academy in Korea. Our focus then, as it is today, has always been to personalize education for each individual student. As our academy continued to grow in conjunction with the authoring of 3 textbooks or books on math education, our ability to provide that personalized attention became more and more difficult. Essentially what we realized was that once the classroom got over 7-to-1 in terms of student to teacher ratio, we couldn't provide that individual attention to each of our students. So we sought a technological tool to help us educate our students better. Realizing that one didn't exist in the market, we went ahead and built it ourselves. So you may recall back in your school days that a teacher would tell you to show your work, show your work, show your work, show your work. And the reason they told you to do that was because in that process of seeing your work, they could determine why you may have gotten a question wrong. So in this case, here you can see that Jimmy is not using multiplication property of equality correctly. No matter how diligent or good the teacher may be, the reality is that that teacher can't do this and remember that data for 30 kids across the entire curriculum. And so what we did was went ahead and digitalized that process so that our algorithm can actually do the assessment for the teacher. So our focus, sorry. Is there another clicker? So our focus is to discover why a student gets a question wrong. So if the student is presented with a question and answers it incorrectly, our technology can actually tell you why the student answered that question incorrectly. Essentially, we do that by breaking down the question into the individual components necessary to answer that question and then assess the student as they're moving along in the process. What we do with that data is 2 things. The first is we then create a personalized curriculum for each individual student that focuses on each individual student's weak areas. The next thing that we do is then take that data and provide that to the teacher so that the teacher can intervene to each individual student or adjust their lesson plan to address and differentiate their instruction for their entire classroom. In May of this year, KnowRe was just named Best Instructional Application by the New York City Department of Education. There are over 200 companies that applied, and we won first place amongst 3 layers of judging that included teachers and principals, New York City Common Core DOE fellows that looked at our pedagogy, and also experts within the education field. This fall, actually currently, we're in the process of executing a pilot program. As part of our pilot program, we had 150 schools apply. Of those 150 schools, we chose 37 schools to be a part of our pilot. Those 37 schools include 175 teachers and 8,000 students across 34 cities, 17 states, and a wide variety of demographic in terms of school type, geography, socioeconomic background, and ethnic background as well. KnowRe is currently available in pre-algebra and algebra 1. We'll be moving up in the curriculum, moving up into pre-calculus, calculus A, B, and BC, and then also expanding into the Asian curriculum, starting with Korea, and then China and Japan. Thank you very much. We are actually in the process of a fundraising round right now. Would be very interested afterwards to speak with any folks that may be interested. Thank you.
So I saw Spanish there. So is,
yeah, sorry, it's Spanish language for pre-algebra.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah.
wondering if the algorithm somehow would work for
We're working
learning
on it
new
for
language.
languages later. Hopefully it will, but we haven't really approached that yet.
What is it? Tell us about
The team, there are 5 co-founders, and I guess the entire company is made up of 31 folks. Most of them are content developers, so folks that are making the curriculum. And then we have a development and then UX team as well.
what is their education?
So all of the team, except for myself actually, is good at math. Our focus is hiring content developers that have either masters or PhDs within math, either math or math education.
What's your background?
My background is in finance actually.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Carleton College. It's a small liberal arts university in Minnesota.
And the other co-founders are from a university in Korea called Post-Tech, which is like the MIT of Korea, or the IIT of Korea.
Is this a software for teachers
Yes.
to be using?
Yes,
So it's
teachers to integrate into the classroom either as supplemental
Okay.
or as core to the curriculum.
So it's like making teachers lazier.
Making them better.
Okay.
Making them better by
More
providing.
efficient.
Yes.
And how about how much have you sold?
Well, we are pre-revenue right now. This pilot program, the schools are using as a free product, but we'll look to sell, starting in the spring when the new school cycle starts.
What's your plan? Are you going to be selling to the schools?
Yes, yeah.
That's difficult.
It is, it's difficult, but I think a very unique aspect of the timing for KnowRe is the penetration of devices into schools. Right now, one-to-one penetration is about 20%. And obviously you look at LA Unified School District, Miami-Dade, and other school districts that are buying iPads for each of their individual students. As that penetration increases, the curricular software solutions like KnowRe are going to become much more important. And so I think we can ride that wave, which is going to be a very obviously influential part of the next gen of education.
So,
Our marketing plan in the US is going to be direct sales. We think about our product, because we're selling into schools, we think about our product as an enterprise SaaS. And so we'll have a direct sales force that would sell directly to schools.
and so and what about Korea? Are you going to sell this in Korea too, or China?
We are.
Or
So
anything?
we're...
And is it language dependent?
It is. It is. So we're in the midst of creating a Korean curriculum right now. We are hopefully going to be launching a strategic partnership with one of the largest educational companies in Asia to actually distribute our product through their learning centers. And that deal should be announced within kind of the next 2 to 3 weeks.
How do we know the product really, do you have any proof that the product really helps the teacher?
Sure. It's an important question. Obviously, we're getting a lot of data from this pilot program now, but the way that we think about the efficacy of the product is what we've done is taken our offline pedagogy in this Korean Math Academy and digitalized it. And we know that that offline pedagogy works, that it is effective. Obviously, the students that have gone through our academy have done well, and so that's kind of our thought process. But I'm supremely confident that after this pilot program, we'll have good data that shows the engagement, the high engagement given the gamification, and the efficacy.
Now, this can't work for all math because there's the trial and error, like if you're factoring, or and in some cases you might do, if I'm doing a math problem and it's quite extensive, there are pieces that I would do first and other pieces I would do later. And how do you make that work with your software, or do you just say, look, we're not for everyone and not for every problem. We're just going to do the best we can.
Yeah, unfortunately, I would have loved to actually show, and I'd be happy to, show the product, working out in the lobby. But the screen on the right actually kind of gives you a little sense of the question at the top is x over 2 plus 2/3 equals 2. And what we do is we walk that student through the steps of answering that question. So it is a digital version of showing your work. In essence, we can kind of adapt, or that's the idea, adapt to any type of learning style. And that's the real strength in our product, is that it can focus on remedial students, and it can help also advanced students along, and any student within that spectrum.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Sungmin from GIST.
That's the last slide, actually. Go to the first slide. Perfect. Morning, my name is Sungmin. I'm the founder and CEO of GIST, that brings you news in a nutshell to help you cover more issues in less time. As you all know, increasing number of people today consume news content using their mobile devices. And as you may have guessed, most people read news on their mobile phones in the morning on their way to work. You can see the clear transition of traffic from mobile to desktop around 9 a.m., which is when most people arrive at their workplace. One thing you may not have known is that people no longer read news on mobile. Rather, they snack on it. News snacking is a fairly new concept, and what do I mean by it? It means people visit news apps more frequently than before, but spend shorter amounts of time during each visit. The traditional lean-back experience for more in-depth reading is now reserved for tablets and desktops. Mobile doesn't quite serve that purpose. So, to sum up, more people today read news in smaller bits and bytes on the go using their smartphones. Unfortunately, the plethora of news content that's out there today aren't optimized for this kind of experience. They offer the same type of content, the long articles that fill your mobile screens with lots and lots of small text that's very hard to read, especially when you're on the go. We felt there needed to be a better way to consume news on mobile, even if we had to bring out a completely different type of text. Which is why we decided to replace traditional articles and conventional summaries, the dry, mechanical 3-sentence summaries, with snippets of information made up primarily of quotes, numbers, and videos from each of the news articles. These news snippets are short, yet very informative. Quotes and numbers are a rich source of information that give you a good sense of what each article is about. And they're very mobile friendly. They have a much higher readability on mobile screens. I think the slide speaks for itself. Last but most importantly, by lending a human voice to telling news stories, it gets users and readers interested in issues that would have otherwise failed to capture their attention. Take a look at this example. The title reads, "Afghans celebrate soccer win over India, a rare victory after years of war." I usually would not have cared about a soccer match between Afghanistan and India. But take a look at this quote from a fruit seller on the streets of Kabul that reads, "After 30 years of war, the world thinks of Afghanistan as only having wars and violence. Today we are showing that our young men can become world champions." These quotes give a human touch to the otherwise mundane news titles that help the issue come to life. So all in all, GIST is a service that I like to refer to as chocolate in your pocket. It's a quick bite, it offers instant gratification, yet leaves you craving more, which is a great news for publishers and content producers who are constantly on the lookout for third-party news apps or aggregators that offer a higher click-through rate. Let me explain to you how this process works real quickly. We aggregate articles from all around the web, and then we cluster articles on the same issue. And by comparing those articles, we extract key quotes and numbers that we think most represent each of the article best. All the content that you saw on these slides are generated automatically using licensed NLP technology and our proprietary algorithm. And they're straight off of the MVP that we put up 2 days ago. We started building a conventional summarization engine in March and got these prototypes out for both web and mobile on May. And based on these prototypes, we ran a 2-week beta test in the US, through which we realized that users want a more mobile-centric experience that can accommodate their sporadic news consumption behaviors. And we also received very positive feedback with regards to pulling numbers from the text and displaying them separately. So we expanded on that idea with quotes, and here we are with our current version. So this is the team that made it all possible. We have 3 very capable developers, 1 excellent designer, and then me who does everything else. I'm an issues guy. I study politics, undergrad, public policy at grad school. And the picture there is an inside joke of a time when I didn't think I was ever going to do a startup. So I think we're the only pre-product, pre-funding startup out here today that's not looking to raise serious amounts of money immediately. But we are here to receive validation on our concept and initial product. And any feedback on how we may evolve this idea to offer a better experience to our end users would be greatly appreciated. And we're also looking forward to, we're also planning on moving out here within the next few months. So any advice in that regard would also be tremendously helpful. Pending any further questions, this concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening.
How do you create the bytes?
So like I said, we aggregate articles from all around the web. And the one thing that frustrated me the most was because there's so many news outlets, there are always hundreds and thousands of articles on the same issue. So we cluster articles on each individual issue, and by comparing them across the board, we extract, using frequency and similarity, and which is embedded into our algorithm, we extract quotes and numbers, and potentially in the future videos that we think best represent those news stories.
I see. So yeah, there's no editor here. It's all done by the intelligence of the computer.
So that's one thing that we're still contemplating because we're trying to get it as accurate as possible, but it's still not as good as something done by a human editor. So we're still contemplating adding a human editor at the last stage of our content production cycle, and that's something that I would like to discuss with the experts in the field here today.
Who else is doing it?
So there are other summary apps. Summly and Wavi were sold to Yahoo and Google respectively. There are other copycats that are out there in the market, but they offer dry, mechanical 3-sentence summaries that you are familiar with. Basically, they're shorter length of the same long text article. But what we're doing is we're offering a different format to basically snack on news information using quotes, numbers, and videos. So slightly different approach there.
You know, all of those businesses, Flipboard and Pulse and whatever, they're all having a hard time making money. Do you have a really good business model that's going to change the nature of how people make money in news?
So I'd be lying if I said I had an innovative business model different from all the other news apps are offering. But we're thinking about a freemium model with premium features as a news reader. We're also thinking about revenue share for paid content with publishers. And we're also thinking about native ads, which is the future of mobile advertising, using the same format that I just introduced, quotes, numbers, and videos, which I think will be able to provide an effective ad platform for lots of ad producers out there.
You might want to try, I'm plugging a company that's in our batch right now, but it's called Bitwall. It's a new form of paywall.
Okay, Bitwall.
Why do you finish with a woman that's thoroughly reading a full newspaper?
To be honest, we have we designed our logo in 2 colors, and I just wanted to show the red logo at the end. And that image just happens to go really well with the red logo, which is a very stark contrast between the old media experience.
And I'll give you one more criticism on the presentation. You use a quote from one of your competitors in the beginning. You probably shouldn't do that.
So yes, thank you for that feedback. I'm actually a very big fan of Circa. I think Circa is more of a gourmet 3-course meal. They're offering a value that's completely different from what we're offering. And Benha, I know, is out here somewhere.
Then don't list them as competitors.
Do you own just.com?
I don't. I think Reuters owns just.com. So we have just.gs, which is probably a domain that you never heard of. It's South Georgia and South Sandwich Islands. It's an island off of the island off of Antarctica, and so we love this. So, and you know, it could stand for globally serviced, and it has similar spelling to our name. So we just decided to adopt it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have David Lee from Shakr. There's lots of them.
By the way, this is not the David Lee that Bill was talking about before.
I think Bill's David Lee was Chinese, and geez, there are too many Korean David Lees too. So I'm Shakr Dave. Hello. Today, we're going to find a way to tell your story with wonderful video. I'm David Lee from Shakr Media, and Shakr is a marketplace that connects the content created by professional video producers with the people that want to tell their stories using wonderful video, which is a very challenging thing. Video is a special thing. Done well, it can touch the soul. But video is difficult, expensive. It's voice activated. I did that myself. Video is difficult and it's expensive, and for most of us, it's out of reach. Not for Rex, though. Rex designs ads for Nike. He does the video for CBS Sports, Ugly Betty, Comcast. He designs video for some of America's largest corporations. Rex is a creator. Rex knows how to make pixels move. But Rex doesn't know how to scale his business beyond the slog of a freelancer. It's tough business being a freelancer. Other creators, like those who make mugs or other handcrafted goods, have a platform to connect directly with buyers. That's Etsy. And if you look at HTML, CSS designers who use Photoshop very well, they can design themes and sell those on Tumblr or WordPress. They can sell website templates on ThemeForest. And app developers, of course, they've got their wonderful platform for connecting directly with buyers. They get really close to their buyers, and they scale wonderfully on the iOS App Store and Google Play. These 3 platforms have something in common. They bring creators closer to buyers. What about the professional video creator, guys like Rex? Rex, who does wonderful work for Nike, who's got incredible professionalism, he's got creative talent, but he doesn't have a platform to connect directly with his buyers. Well, now Rex has Shakr. Rex, as a designer, makes video templates, decides the price that he sells those templates for, and he earns the majority of the profit when people create videos using his templates at Shakr.com. At Shakr, customers create videos that tell their story by choosing a template and adding their photos and video clips. It's free to create. They pay only to upgrade if they like the video. It's delightfully easy for users to create video with Shakr. And this is not your average video slideshow. This is motion graphics video that tells a story, video that's dynamic and engaging, and users don't add their photos blindly. As they're watching the video with sample content, Shakr will pause the sample content for them and say, please add a photo of your wife. Please add a photo of your child. Please add a video clip of your child having fun at the park. and you can change the words, everything. This goes far beyond the photo slideshows that are available on the market today. And our users love our videos so much that they convert. 22% of our users go to paid HD upgrades. It's free to create, so there's no commitment, no credit cards, anything. And yet, 22% of them, and that number is rising, say, I want to pay to get this video in HD. They pay an average of $39. And we're looking at a user lifetime value projected at over $200, and that number is also climbing as we get more and more video templates. We launched on May 1st in Seoul with 20 templates designed by our in-house designers. Today we have 51 templates, only 3 months later. We're able to scale because we don't do the work ourselves. Third-party designers come to Shakr and say, can we sell our templates through you? And these templates is maybe a belittling word because it goes far beyond what most people think of as templates. These are beautiful videos. We're looking at having over 250 templates by the end of the year, and that's going with the number of designers we have now. By the end of 2014, using the number of designers we have now, we can scale that up to 3,500 templates to tell every single imaginable story for most people. We have the ability to scale because of guys like Rex and because of companies like Flux ImageWorks that does high quality, high production value video for some of the largest corporations in the world. But they're sick and tired. They've had it right up to about here with the slog of doing freelance work because, well, they get paid late, they have inconsistent work, it's seasonal, and the hours are pretty killer too. So they decided to make a template for realtors. Flux ImageWorks read in the Wall Street Journal that 14% of properties sold in 2012 had video as part of the deciding factor in that property getting sold. So they went ahead and created a template for real estate. So realtors can come to Shakr.com themselves and create a beautiful video to help sell the properties in their portfolio. We're opening our public preview here in the United States today. We've been open for 3 months in Korea. This is the first time that we're opening our doors in English. Great video for everyone. Available at Shakr.com. Great video for everyone. 감사합니다. Thank you.
That was the best presentation. Who are you?
I think I've got the David Lee Luck running through my...
Seriously, your background.
I started my first company in 1994 as a 14-year-old kid with my middle school friend, Ryan Little. And we got funded by the chairman of the Business Development Bank of Canada. I had to leave Canada because I couldn't say that company name. Business Development Bank of Canada, and we got the majority stake acquired by iTex Corporation, a NASDAQ-listed company in '98. Afterwards, I only made a little bit of money on that, and with that money, I blew most of it on my next venture, which was a marketplace for English language instruction. And we used video, and a lot of people tell me, David, you failed mostly because you were ahead of your time, and I say no, because I think it was my failure to do one of either two things, either acknowledge and adapt to the reality of the slower internet connections and the state of video conferencing at the time, or to reimagine that and enforce a new reality upon what was going on. And I didn't do either of those two things, and so I lost my money. Afterwards, I figured that if I wanted to continue being an entrepreneur, I should roll up my sleeves and work at a startup. So I joined a startup doing sales and marketing. I thought that was one of my glaring weak points, and my other was product development. So, geez, I shouldn't be an entrepreneur is what I was thinking at the time, or I really need to learn this. So I worked at two startups, one doing sales and marketing for 2 years, and then another doing product development. In my second gig, it was in Seoul, Korea. I developed Witoku, which was a read-write-web top 10 international web product and a Mashable top 5 social media gadget. It connected power bloggers with the ability to do video conferencing interviews. And they do the interview online, and immediately they could embed that interview as a video inside of their blog or website. So all along, I've been interested in Marketplaces and video is kind of the trend of what I've been doing. I'm a middle school graduate. I went to high school, but I didn't graduate. And I also went to U of T for a little while, but I didn't graduate from there either.
And was that just an objective when you started, not to graduate?
To be honest, don't tell my wife this, but I think I went to U of T to meet the girls. I'm not like that anymore, but to be honest. And I guess high school, I was doing my startup at the time, Avenir, and my focus was more on that than on school.
So completion is really important.
Oh, absolutely.
In a company, so you got to take it all the way, and that's why I relate that jumping out of school. Steve Jobs did it, however, and so did who else? Zuckerberg and quite a few others.
I think completion comes down to choices that we make, and I think those around me would say that I'm a finisher. What I choose to finish, I finish, and I've chosen to finish Shakr.
So you're filling out the supply side of your marketplace with the contractors, or the?
They're not contractors.
Okay, they're freelancers.
We're actually, they're our customers, really, is how we think about it. They come to us and they set the price, and they give us a cut of what they earn.
Great. So I have two questions. One is traction. What is your traction?
We're not giving public numbers about our overall user base right now, but we're actually profitable in terms of gross profit, and we're growing at a healthy pace in Korea. So we only launched in Korea, and the numbers can only be so big in Korea.
And then my other question is, so I learned recently that, well, I've learned over the course of having a marketplace that was really difficult to make, that the key to a marketplace is actually focusing all the way down and narrowing your focus like to a tip. Like, and what is your like narrow focus that you're going after? What marketplace are you going after?
So for videos that we produce internally, we're razor focused on an incredibly tiny niche, which is personal event videos in Korea, is all we do in-house at Shakr. So any video templates that we produce is that. When it comes to what third-party produce, they see that, oh, these designers are producing these templates and they're making enough money to make a good living. Then third-party designers come in and say, well, I'm good at making this. And so they make something different. So that's why we see advertising templates coming in. We didn't make any of those in-house.
Who pays you? Is it the consumer, or is it big video production people? Or and then do the templates, do the people who put templates up, are they in an exchange of some sort? Like, do they get money for all the ones the users use?
What happens is the designer will put their template onto Shakr and tell us what the selling price is for HD upgrades. Customers will choose a template, and it's free to create the video, customize a template with their own photos and video clips. If they want to upgrade it to HD, they would pay us the price that the designer has decided, and we take our cut and give the rest to the designer. So we get revenue from the HD upgrades and keep just a small cut of that.
Interesting. And what % of people upgrade to HD of the ones who are just creating videos?
22% right now, but that number is Rising.
And can you give me an idea of how much each person pays you?
The overall average is $39.09 as of today, but that number also fluctuates. It's gone up as high as $60. It's gone as low as $22 is our average ticket. But we're looking at customers who come back over and over.
Is that what you get, or is that what they charge?
That's what the designer charges, and then we take our cut from that.
And what is your cut?
Our cut varies depending on the type of arrangement we have with the designer. So some designers come in on a small minimum, very small minimum guarantee. Other designers come in on just a straight up revenue share, profit share agreement. So it ranges from, actually, we're not giving I can give you the numbers separately in private, but we're not giving the numbers separate out in the public, the profit share figures.
Why don't you make it fairly clear that you take a 15% or whatever?
We have 2 tracks for designers right now, and we only open up the minimum guarantee track to designers who have a proven track record, and so we're trying to
experience versus
Yes, yep.
Great shoes.
Thank you. It's the compromise I make for wearing this.
Terrific.
Thank you, everybody.
Right, okay, we're going to come back to SEWORKS and Amy Kim. Hopefully she won't have any more problems this time. So if you'd like to welcome Amy back.
I'm back again. Okay. My name is Amy Kim. I'm the PR manager from SEWORKS. Today, I'm going to explain how we are disrupting the mobile security market. But first, I'm going to tell you about our amazing team. Our CEO Min Pyo-hong is an expert developer and serial entrepreneur who has already achieved one successful exit, selling his previous company SwiftWorks in 2010. He also established Wow Hacker, a world-famous hacker group. The rest of the team consists of hackers who are among the best in their industry. In fact, for the last 4 years, the team has advanced to the finals of DEFCON, which is seen as the Hackers World Cup. As you know, these days, the global IT market is obsessed with mobile. Almost 1 billion people rely on mobile devices for business and personal relationships. And black hackers are disrupting our lives. Currently, Android accounts for 79% of the global mobile market. This segment is most at risk from hackers, and the problem is growing. In most cases, security problems occur in applications which have been manipulated by hackers. If you operate in the gaming, finance, e-commerce, and many other industries, this threat can have a terrible effect on your business. When we researched this problem, we realized that users, including everyone in this room, can easily find hacking tools by searching online. With these tools, you are able to modify target application in malicious way. We can't prevent unconditionally, but the question we set out to answer was, how can we make the source code unreadable to hackers and prevent the application from being hacked? This is the question we were committed to answering. We have achieved this. We developed application security service, Medusa, built on binary level obfuscation technology. If you are any application developers, you're concerned about safe security, at that time, you can use our service. I'd love to tell you how it works. When you upload your application to our cloud server, before releasing it in the application market, and then our core engine obfuscates the application source code of the APK files directly, just like Medusa's hair. And so we make the application source code unreadable by hackers, and they can't change the source code in your application. After this, users can download safe application. This application that we deliver is both or almost same size and has the same same performance. So, as the originally application. And what about numbers? The mobile security market is already worth almost $1.9 billion this year. This will increase by 43.8% to $3 billion by 2016. We are already reading this market and technology and want to become the only choice for application developers to protect their work and their users. We raised $2 million in Series A funding in July this year, which was led by Qualcomm and SoftBank. Additionally, we are working with Samsung S1 and several blue-chip financial clients and the global gaming companies, and are developing our global marketing strategy. That's it, everyone. Thank you very much.
Now, when you add the security,
Yeah.
how much does it detract from the user experience? Does the user now have to add some password or do something different? If I'm a programmer and I've put together an app, I go through your system. What have you added so that my user has to do?
Yeah, sure. If you develop your application after you apply a technique to our service, don't change the development step, so you can use only original application, same performance.
So the end user, doesn't have to do anything.
It doesn't see any change. And the performance is almost the same.
Yeah, okay.
It's just a layer at the development side.
Yeah.
And so the developer is integrating this into their product?
So I know this company a little bit, so they should hire me. But so the way it works is they have a SaaS platform, and they load you load the file, the APK file, and then it returns it after obfuscation back to the developer.
So I loaded up there, magic happens, and then it comes, and then it comes back, and all of a sudden I'm protected from hackers.
Yeah, it's also called message.
Are there like certain types of hacking that you guys protect from? Is there like certain what types of attacks do you guys?
Nowadays, so many hackers change the source code so in the application.
Okay, so you're the wall around.
Yeah, all around.
So they route the payments to their account instead of the developer's account, things like that.
Got it.
Cool. And Qualcomm as an investor, are they also a customer?
Investor.
Are they a customer too, also?
No, not yet, just investor to us.
And why did they like it?
We launched it in May this year, so we tested now together work with Qualcomm now.
Right, why does Qualcomm like it?
Mobile.
Just because it improves mobile.
And our technology is the only security technology in the world now, especially application technology to apply a technique to binary rebel. So we have only technology.
And what are your revenues so far? Is anyone paying for it yet?
We want to expand the market in the global. So
they're selling, but they won't release the figures publicly yet. Yeah. Samsung is
Do
their
they
major
have
client.
customers?
Yeah, Samsung is their major client.
Okay. Amy, what is your job with the company?
PR manager.
What?
PR manager.
PR. And who is the CEO? What is his background?
He's a very famous hacker in Korea. Yeah. Right there. His English is also not
And what is his education?
학교 어디 나오셨어요?
고려대학.
Korea University, which is one of them.
And how could he tell us just how he sold Qualcomm and SoftBank?
그 퀄컴하고 소프트뱅크가 왜 투자를 했느냐고요? 네? Come, 오세요. Yeah. So he's one of the top hackers in Korea, but his English is not that good, so I'll do some translation. 예, 말씀하세요. 퀄컴하고 그 소프트뱅크가 왜 투자를 했는지.
일단 팀이 좋고요. 네. 그다음에
The team was good.
네, 그리고 그런 기술력 부분도 인정을 받고, 네, 그다음에
The
그쪽.
technology was proven.
네, 그리고 그 비슷한 거에 대한 시장이 그런, 그러니까 우리랑 비슷한 그런 미국에 있는 업체가 이미 뭐 많이 하고 있는데 걔네보다 좀 기술력이 더 좋고.
And there's a comparable company in the U.S. that's selling a lot, but their technology they felt is better than that U.S. comparable company.
You were introduced as a serial entrepreneur. To me, that means that you'll jump from this one to something else. And as an investor, I don't want you, the best hacker in Korea, to be working for my company and then go work for something else. What's the story there?
Serial entrepreneur니까 이거 하다가 그만두고 다른 거 하고 또 다른 거 하고 그럴 걱정을 한다고 투자.
그게 아니고요. 이제 그때 당시 모바일 백신이었는데 그 자체에 대한 시장이 그러니까 어느 정도 애뉴얼로 잡히는 거거든요. 한국에서 B2B를 했기 때문에 다 했어요. 저희가 70% 점유를 했기 때문에.
He's been, he sold his company to one of the other mobile technology companies, and he was involved in that company for a long time, B2B, and he's not that type of person who moves. Yeah.
Well, then he shouldn't be introduced as a serial entrepreneur. That's a big black mark for me. Whenever I see it, I don't want to fund it.
serial entrepreneur라고 얘기하면은 안 좋대요. 왜냐면 저기 또 이거 하다가 다른 거 할 거 같아서.
한국에선 이미 했던 걸 알기 때문에 이제 그 데이터 기반으로 하다 보니까.
It's probably a translation.
Yeah, maybe lost in translation, but yeah. But you know, he uses that to prove his track record. Yeah. Well, thank you. We ran out of time. Let's thank Bill, Tim, and Adam Draper for their valuable time. Thank you so much.